Hi, we are back with the stage of blessing, one of my favorite parts of the Seder when we say Birkat Hamazon. So, what is the relationship between blessing and freedom? Because all of these steps are stages to freedom. Kabbalistic thought teaches that food contains enslaved sparks. Godly energy is trapped and hidden in the material sustenance. And when we say a blessing, we actually release and untap those mystical sparks and elevate the food back to its source. Similarly, when we bless, we actually redeem the negativity of our past because we see it as a source of blessing. So last stage, we unified our inclinations, and now we're able to look at our enslavement and our difficulties as a way that propelled us and brought us to freedom. So in a way, they were a source of our blessings, and that's why we're blessing now after unification. When we eat, we can eat as a slave or a free person. So we have to look at our food and say, is this food enslaving us? Are we slaves to our food and our habits and the material world? Or can we eat as a free person? And even if it's a moment of breath before we eat, a moment of thanks, and a moment of blessing, then we are actually elevating the food and elevating the whole process of eating. Rav Tzadok HaKohen teaches that all egotistical eating stems from the sin of the tree of knowledge. The very first sin in history comes through eating, taking. It says that they took from the tree. They didn't realize that the source of the sustenance and the fruit was Hashem. So when we eat without blessing, we are taking from the tree of knowledge. But when we bless and we eat and we elevate the sparks in the food and we realize the source of our blessings in life, the sweetness and the miracles and the colorful gifts in the world are really from the source of life, then we are eating and partaking from the tree of life and bringing Geula back into the world through holy, positive eating. Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan teaches that the word for bracha, blessing, is related to the Hebrew word for spring or pool. And if you can imagine a spring, there's lots of little streams that flow out from the main pool. And that's what blessings do. They bring godliness and higher attentiveness and positive ripples of awareness into all other areas of our life. And so when we say Baruch Atah, we're saying, Hashem, you are the source of my blessings. And we are taking water from the source and nourishing all other parts of our life. So there's a question, why do we mention the Exodus when we're blessing our food? Well, what's the correlation? We just ate, we're saying Birkat Hamazon, why do we mention the Exodus? And it says in the Gemara that earning a livelihood is as difficult as splitting the Red Sea. And Rabbi Yitzhak of Berditches said that the redemption began when Hashem took us out of Egypt. And earning a living is so difficult. It's such a struggle that it teaches us how to trust in Hashem's goodness. It teaches us that just like we were taken out of Egypt, Hashem will help us earn a livelihood. And it's very practical, it's very earthly, but we all struggle with making a living, or most of us do. And we can either see it as something that enslaves us, or we can lean into trust more and let it be a teaching for us and let Hashem take us out of Egypt. So We also pour a cup for Elijah, and it says to open the door. And our sages teach that whenever Hashem asks us to do something, he also does it. So if we go and open the door for Elijah, the prophet, Hashem is opening the heavenly doors for us. And that's what Passover means, to leap over, because the heavenly doors are open. And we can pray, we can open the gates of our spiritual and material sustenance, and it's going to pour down. We have to be ready for it because Hashem is opening the door. And the Rebbe says at this peak moment, we can ask for anything. We can draw down anything that we desire. And he said, instead of asking for material success, pray for spiritual success, because this is the peak of the Seder. Just like we open the door to let Elijah the prophet in, the fifth cup. So remember that Passover means to leap. So it's our time to leap to spiritual heights through holy eating, through blessing, through realizing the source of goodness in our life. We can draw down miracles and leap to a higher state.